Hey everyone, welcome back to CooklyEats. And today we're taking a delicious trip through the heart of the Midwest. We'll visit 3 states in 3 classic recipes that you just have to try. These are comforting, budget-friendly, and full of regional flavor. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. First stop on our tour is Minnesota, where we are going to start with a taste of the North. Now, what is the North without potatoes? Lay a single potato on your cutting board and cut them into little cubes or dice them. This will be the base for our recipe, Tater Tot Hotdish. While your potatoes are cutting, go ahead and grab a large skillet or saucepan and heat some oil over medium heat. Add your chopped onion and cook until softened. Once the onions are nice and soft and translucent, add your ground beef. Break up that ground beef and cook through. When your meat is fully cooked, drain any excess grease. Now we're going to move everything from the pan over to a greased 9/13-inch baking dish. Next up, add 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, and then pour a can of water. Stir this around so everything is combined really nicely. And lastly, add a bag of frozen tater tots. Gently mix everything together so the tater tots aren't crushed but are evenly distributed. Cover the baking dish with aluminum foil and bake this uncovered in a preheated oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. Once that 45 minutes is up, remove the foil and bake for an additional 15 minutes or until the tots are golden brown and crispy. You could serve this up immediately and dig in, or you could cover it and refrigerate for later in the week. This is a Minnesota classic that is perfect for a cold day. The tater tots bring a fun twist to a traditional hot dish. You might not normally think of combining tater tots and beef, but trust me, it works and it is good. This dish has layers of flavor and texture that will keep you coming back for seconds. It's like a big warm hug from the inside out. All right, now it's time to say cheese because we're headed to Wisconsin for their world-famous beer cheese soup. Now, if you haven't heard of this soup, it is basically a creamy, cheesy soup with the perfect amount of beer to balance out the richness. In a large pot, melt butter over medium heat, then stir in flour to coat the butter and make a roux. Slowly whisk in your milk and bring the mixture to a simmer, whisking constantly. This is going to form a base for our soup. Once the simmer is reached, continue to whisk frequently for about 5 minutes, or until the soup starts thickening. After the soup has thickened, stir in shredded cheddar cheese. Keep stirring until the cheese is almost completely melted. After the cheese is mostly melted, add your beer. Continue to stir until the cheese is fully melted and the soup is smooth. Season with salt and pepper. Now you can turn off the heat and serve the soup while it's warm, with a sprinkle of additional cheese on top, and maybe even a pretzel or a piece of crusty bread for dipping. This soup is so rich, creamy, and full of cheesy goodness. That beer adds a unique flavor that is simply unforgettable. I love how easy this recipe is. 1 pot, minimal ingredients, and maximum flavor. It's perfect for a cozy night in or a special treat on a cold day. And last but certainly not least, we're finishing off our tour in Indiana, where we're going to learn about their famous pork tenderloin sandwich. Now, the first thing we need to do here is pound that pork tenderloin to an even thickness. Set your tenderloin between 2 sheets of plastic wrap or parchment paper and use a meat mallet to pound it out. As you're pounding, make sure that you're keeping it even. You want a nice thin sheet of meat. Once you have an even piece of meat, remove the plastic wrap and set it on a plate. Next up, beat your eggs in a separate bowl. Add in some milk, salt, and pepper. Set this aside. Now you're going to take your pounded pork tenderloin and dredge it in flour. Shake off any excess flour and dip it into that egg mixture. Let it drip and then dredge it again in flour. Now you're going to heat oil in a large skillet on medium heat. Once the oil is hot, add the pork tenderloin. Fry the pork on each side until golden brown and no longer pink. You're going to want to cook this through. A thermometer should read 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it reaches 145 degrees Fahrenheit, you can remove the pork from the pan and place it on some paper towels to drain. While your pork is resting, go ahead and slice your buns in half and toast them lightly in the same pan. Once the pork is rested, you can add it on top of your toasted bun and serve it up immediately. This sandwich is massive. It is breaded like a fried steak and is super flavorful. The fact that it's larger than the bun makes it extra delicious. You're getting a perfectly fried piece of pork with a thick, juicy, and slightly crispy exterior and a tender, juicy interior. It's like biting into a cloud that's been kissed by the sun. The flavors are so simple yet so satisfying. This dish is like a warm hug from the inside out. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the Midwest, and 3 classic recipes that are sure to leave you feeling warm and fuzzy inside. From Minnesota to Wisconsin to Indiana, we've sampled the best of the region's cuisine. Now it's time for us to sit down and enjoy the fruits of our labor. I'm serving up all 3 dishes for a little taste test. Starting with the Tater Tot Hotdish. This dish is a visual masterpiece with those golden brown tater tots on top. It kind of reminds me of a cheesy potato casserole that's been camping out on the top of a mountain, soaking up the sun and turning a beautiful golden brown. The beef is rich and savory, and the cream of mushroom soup gives it a depth of flavor that's hard to resist. And let's not forget about those tater tots. They're the star of the show. Now on to the beer cheese soup. This soup is so creamy and decadent that it practically begs to be served with a side of crusty bread for dipping. The cheese is sharp and tangy, the beer is hoppy, and the soup is so velvety smooth that it feels like it was made with one of those fancy French blenders. It's like they took a block of cheddar, squeezed all the joy out of it, and then poured it into a bowl. And finally, we have the pork tenderloin sandwich, a dish that is so over the top in the best possible way. The pork is perfectly golden-hued and so thick that it spills out of the bun like a furry avalanche. The breading is crisp and the pork is so juicy and succulent that it practically melts in your mouth. It's like they took a tender pork chop, squeezed all the sizzle out of it, and then stuffed it into a bun. But the real question here is which one of these dishes comes out on top? Well, in the end, it's a close call, but the winner is none other than the pork tenderloin sandwich. The combination of a perfectly fried pork tenderloin and a fluffy, buttery bun is simply unbeatable. Plus, it's hard to go wrong with a dish that is literally dripping with flavor. But don't worry, the other 2 dishes are close seconds. The Tater Tot Hotdish is like a warm hug from the inside out, and the beer cheese soup is so rich and decadent that it feels like a cheat day in a bowl. Well, there you have it, a Midwest food tour like no other. Hopefully this gives you a little taste of the heartland and its hearty, comforting cuisine. And who knows, maybe you'll even find yourself craving a pork tenderloin sandwich or 2 after watching this video. Thank you so much for joining me on this delicious journey. I hope you enjoyed our tour of the Midwest and its amazing cuisine. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more epic food adventures. Until next time, happy cooking and bon appetit.